Hey y'all, how you doing? Just wanted to get on here for a minute. I've been trying for, a while um, to get on here and put some content up or just I put a post up when it happened. My mom passed away on January 1st and I've just been in a state of grieving at the moment. Um, Trying to get my head into a better place. If you've ever lost a parent or close family member. I'm sure you can relate. I went and bought myself some new cards. Um, I went into this spiritual store and I was talking to the lady in there about it. And she's like, "Oh, you read tarot?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "But I haven't been able to pick up the cards since, and really tune in since my mom passed. I have a hard time. Um, I was having a hard time." And she says, "Oh, honey, it took me almost a year." Um, Everybody grieves in their own time. For anybody that reached out to me for a personal reading over the last 2 months, I am sincerely sorry. I just wasn't in a place to do it. I wasn't talking to anybody, and I was just trying to get myself into a better mental state. I talk about mental health on my channel a lot. If you've been here for a while, um, I was working at a job. I say was because I quit. I am currently unemployed, but I'm not worried. um, I was working at a job. I was working at a convenience store, and not. It's funny because I never knew what an empath was before like 4 years ago when a friend said that to me, and I'm like, okay, what's that? I was never into spirituality. I was just, a good person. I just knew it something about people's energy, something about the way people felt or how I felt when I was around certain people. I could feel like, this is not somebody I want to spend time with. This is not somebody. And and I tell you what, the world is full of a lot of shitty people. And, it's very draining. When you work in customer service, if any empaths out there, light workers out there have ever worked in customer service, then you can relate to this. It's very hard to keep that smile on your face all the time and be nice. And that's who I am. And as much as I did love my job. And no, I didn't make a lot of money there. I didn't. I made a little over minimum wage. But I was not making enough money for what I did there. Not that money matters to me. I've never given two craps about money in the least bit. Everybody's like, well, don't you want to get out of the projects? For anybody that doesn't know, 4 years ago, February 26th, 2019, I lost, well, the one person who understood me completely on every level. Um, we had been together for 7 years and I knew him since I was 12 years old. Snapped, went off the deep end. Um, no longer with us, I'll put it that way. And if he did some things that I don't really want to talk about on here, just due to privacy of my children. But I ended up losing everything I owned. Anything that was in my house, anything that was, we had no clothes left, we had no house left, we had no home left, and he was dead. And it's been 4 years. So, and his birthday was Valentine's Day. So, we were engaged to be married. He was, before all that, the love of my life, okay? And things like that tend to bring judgment from a lot of people. Oh, you should have known. You should have known that there was something wrong with him. You should have known. No, I knew the man my whole life, since I was 12. 32 years. Never could have predicted somebody. You can't predict somebody going off the deep end. And the fact that I feel people's energy so deeply, that really messes with you. You know, it's like, how didn't I know? And for a long time I blamed myself, and for a long time I had a hard time with life in general. But if I can come back from that, I can come back from anything. And the last 4 years I've spent just really getting in touch with spirit and God and the universe, and learning a lot about myself. And something like that teaches you what you want and what you don't want, and what you will, you know, it gives you boundaries. Anyway, but I was working, we were very short staffed, put it that way. So I was working almost every day, 6 days a week, coming in contact with 200 to 300 people a day, being the only cashier, always a constant line, very busy store. It's draining. And if anybody noticed, and I only worked there for a year, and believe it or not, I was the longest running employee there, besides the store manager. And working there was so draining. If you noticed over the last year, I haven't put up much content. I didn't want to. I couldn't do it. I'd come home from work and I'd just be drained and want to go to sleep, because I had to get up the next day and do the same thing all over again. I was sitting outside of work, taking a smoke break, because that's all we got there. Was every few hours you got to go outside and hit a cigarette real quick before another customer came in, and, you know, run back in the store. I'm sitting outside and I just felt it in my gut. I can't do this anymore. The stress is going to kill me. It's going to put me into an early grave. Now, don't get me wrong. I loved my boss. She was an amazing person and a close personal friend. You know, we got really close because it was always just me and her working. So it was like, we got real close. We'd be on Facebook when we weren't at work, sending each other memes, tagging each other in memes on Facebook about how bad work sucks. But it just got to the point where I'm like, I can't do this stress anymore. And physically, I suffer from chronic pain. I have since I was 12 years old. I've had rheumatoid arthritis since I was 12 years old. Top that off with, I'm getting older, and the physicality of the work. I'm 48 years old now. The physicality of the work, couldn't do it anymore. I'm sitting outside and just, nope, can't do this anymore. So I went and I put in my 2-week notice. And I didn't make it the full 2 weeks because my best friend's mom took a turn for the worst with her cancer. You know, cancer sucks, yo. Lost my mom that way back in January. He lost his mom. You know, it's hard. It's a horrible, horrible disease. But I ended up leaving early, and, you know, my boss understood. But now I am currently unemployed. I just got my high-speed internet turned on, though, and I've applied at a lot of places. I want to work from home. I'm good with people when it's like a one-on-one thing. You put me around a bunch of people, no. Because, like, customers would come in to work just to see me, just to talk to me, just to, you know, because I'm a kind of person, in person, I'm always cracking jokes. I'm always doing whatever I can to make someone smile. And I do miss that part of it. Never cared about how much money I made, never cared about, when we lost everything, I ended up in this projects apartment. It's income based, you know. And the lady in the office, even though when I went to have my rent reevaluated, a year prior to that, I was working a job making half as much. So when I got my rent evaluation and how much I have to pay a month, it was the minimum. And I went up there and I'm like, my son's like, don't say anything. Maybe it's a mistake and you have the paperwork to show it. And I'm like, no, I have to be honest. I'm an honest person. I went up there and I'm like, is this correct? She said, yeah. She says, I'm allowed 3 vouchers every year to give to 3 people that I think are truly trying. And she says, Merry Christmas. Your rent's going to stay that way for the next year, which is at the minimum. So, you know, and I live in a 3-bedroom apartment, and it's not a bad place. Area is not the best. I mean, there was a shooting like 100 feet from my back door a couple months ago, but as I've been here for almost 4 years now, because, okay, my son graduates next, 2 months, okay? And I've just been, there's no point, and it's just me and him now. My other 2 are grown up and moved on with their own lives. I mean, my second daughter just bought her first house, and she's engaged to be married, and, you know, she's doing great. And my son's about to graduate and go off to college, and then it's just going to be me. You know, so I'm staying here until that happens, and then I'll figure out where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do. All I know is I live in Youngstown, Ohio, which is one of the top 5 poorest cities in the United States, and trying to make a comeback in Youngstown, Ohio is almost possible after losing everything you own. Okay, I was homeless with 2 kids, and you know, right now and I've never wanted fancy. I've never cared about money. Just like my channel, everybody's like, oh, well, you're losing subscribers because you haven't been on there in 2 months. So what? I've never done this for subscribers. I've done this because, you know, the universe sends lessons to people. I'm not saying I'm special. Trust me, I wish I didn't have the past record of traumatic experiences that I have. But as my mother used to say, the devil don't mess. Well, she used a different word. She used the F word, but you know, YouTube's cracking down on people that swear. The devil don't mess with people unless they see something in them that's a threat. So every time some traumatic event would happen in my life, whether it had been an abusive relationship that I had to break free from, whether it had been, I've had to start over from scratch several times in my life. Now, don't get me wrong, I have played my part and I take accountability for my mistakes that I made, the choices that I made that were not the right choices that I ended up in those things anyway. But I went into everything with the best intentions, open-hearted, and, you know, sometimes things happen and people say, how do you go on after something like that? After losing everything, after something so traumatic. We were on it was one of those things that was on the news. He committed suicide by cop after a 13-hour standoff. You know, they interviewed me to see what I had to say, and then they, you know, as the media tends to do, put me in a bad light that made it sound like I only cared about what happened to him and not what happened to my children, not what happened to, you know, anything else. And that gives you a lot of judgment towards other people. You got to learn to have a thick skin, not care what other people think. And life's going to move on, whether you're moving on with it or not. So you got to pick yourself up and keep moving forward, which is what I'm doing. Okay. So I'm going to get down to it. I got some cards here, new cards here. I'm all set up. I bought this, a friend, if you've heard me mention Mr. Krabs on this channel before, bought me cameras and a new laptop, and I am very appreciative of him for that. They've been sitting on a shelf in my closet until I was ready, mentally, spiritually ready to use them. I have a very old desk that was donated to us when we lost everything, and it's all paint chipped and whatnot. So I got this nice little astrological desktopper so I could do the cards on here, and you can see more now, and I want to buy some new tapestries for my background, and it's we'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm starting to. I got away from that job, so I'm starting to be in a better mindset. I've let go of anything that has taken, has drains me of my energy. I've let go of a lot of things, a lot of people, a lot of, and the saddest part of my mom passing away is I walked away that day knowing that a lot of those people I'm never going to see again. And I'm talking about family. I'm talking about, because my mom was the only reason that we all got together. So, you know, but like I said, life moves forward. You can either stay stuck or you can move along with it. And I'm done being stuck. I'm tired of being stuck. So I'm going to sit down and I'm going to record a couple readings. And hopefully you guys get some enjoyment out of them. And we'll just see where it goes from there. Okay? Like I said, I do this for me as therapy for me because I like reading the cards and telling the little stories that I see, and everybody's interpretation of the cards is different. I actually watched a video the other day about talking about don't memorize the actual meanings of the cards, okay? Because everybody interprets the cards different. So if you like my interpretations of the cards and they resonate with you, I appreciate you for being here, for sharing in my stories of various traumas in my life that I use for the purpose of explaining things. For anybody out there, if I could touch just even one person and get through to even one person and spark something in them that makes them think and maybe gives them a different perspective, then I feel like I've done something and I've accomplished something. So that's why I do this. But that's all I got to say now. I'm going to turn this off and then I'm going to start reading some cards. So I will see you in a little bit. Much love. Bye.